Today is a very auspicious day, Appearance Day of Shripad Srila Shankaracharya, and also one dear disciple of Srila Prabhupada, Srila Bhaktivilas Gambhastinemi Gosai Maharaj. We just now sang this song. I was singing because there are two Vaishnavas, or if there are three Vaishnavas are like this, then I usually sing this song because it is in plural. Srila Narottam Thakur is praying for the grace of Vaishnavas in plural. O revered Vaishnavas, O group of Vaishnavas, I submit this prayer unto you, this submission. I am much fallen. I'm greatly fallen. And my behavior is not good. Bad behavior. And that fate, because of my previous actions, has immersed me in the ocean of this material existence. So kindly please catch my hair and pull me out by the hair. That Vidhi means providence or fate is very powerful. It does not hear about what kind of karma or gyan you have or you are doing. Still you will be bound in karmic reactions, and so I am not seeing any means of deliverance. Wherever I see only afflictions, miseries. Like one person, I am crying one person who is anath, who has no master, means he's helpless. I am in Katara, means like death. What is that word? Here, Dasayub, helpless and stricken with grief. Katara, like desperate. Also, I am calling. I am crying. I am helpless. Or masterless means that no one is there. And last, anger, greed, illusion, pride, false ego, all together, they're pulling me to their own places. Everyone wants me to serve them. So I'm being scattered here and there. I am a slave. Such is my mind, like one blind man. He does not know what is right path and what is wrong path. And blind. Ondo. Ondo means blind man. Ondokar means darkness. I did not accept the verdict of saintly persons, liberated persons, eternal. That truth I did not accept. Instead, I immersed my consciousness into what is non-eternal, this matter. So I never desired your lotus feet of Vaishnavas, because I was only hankering for that thing all the time. So Narottam Das Thakur is singing, now in this situation, wherever I see and whatever I hear, I feel only fear. Because this material existence is permitted or pervaded by fear all the time, because time is taking away everything. So kindly, O Vaishnavas, kindly you please rescue me and take me near to you. This prayer Narottam Thakur is singing for praying the grace of Vaishnavas in plural. So today is Shankaracharya. Someone may ask why we are observing. He is the greatest enemy of Vaishnavas, impersonalist, preacher of Mayavad. Why you are observing his appearance day? Also, I did not see in other mats. Our mat is observing, because you will find in Jaiva Dharma, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur described that Shankaracharya is a guru of Vaishnavas because he is Shiva. And he was ordered by Supreme Lord at appropriate time, because all in India they became Buddhists. They gave up Vedas, and then Shankaracharya was sent to preach this Mayavad or Advaitavad, giving evidence from Vedic scriptures. He again re-established Vedic Varna Ashram Dharma as a means for liberation and Gyan and all these things. His ultimate goal, there Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur also explained, he did not clearly explain, so it can be misinterpreted by some. But all like benefits, they're calculated from eternal standpoint or for some particular time. So his benefit was for particular time. When India was in the grip of Buddhists, that time he was sent by Supreme Lord. Shiva is Vaishnavanam Jatasambhu. No one is like that, Vaishnava. Shiva is pure devotee, so he had to do this to bring back India to Vedic evidence and all those practices, and he did it. In only 48 years he remained in this world. He wrote commentaries to Upanishads and Vedanta Sutra and Bhagavad Gita, and was preaching everywhere. He removed all Buddhism, and on this basis then later Vaishnavacharyas built devotional schools. He had to cut that jungle of Buddhism and bring to Vedic. Then Ramanuja came and told what is the real meaning of Veda, Upanishads, all this, it is devotional. So India is indebted for his contribution to Shankaracharya, and because internally he is pure devotee. That is why we are praying for his grace. Also, we heard in Navadip Dham Mahatmya, he came to Navadip also, and he got darshan of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in Shankarpur. Then Mahaprabhu appeared to him and he said, yes, you are doing according to my order. You are spreading this. There is evidence in Padma Puran. Shiva himself is telling to Devi, Parvati, that I will have to do this job in Kali Yuga as a Brahmin. I will have to do 2 verses are there evidence. So here Mahaprabhu said, you are doing, it is very good, but you please preach elsewhere. This Navadip is very dear to me and my devotees, they are worshipping here, so you don't disturb here. You go to other places. So Shiva, he bowed down to Gauranga and went to other places. And there are many miraculous things in the life of Shankaracharya which prove that he is really not ordinary person. He is Shiva. And what he did is actually impossible. In only 48 years, how he preached everywhere and what he achieved. So ultimately also he said, you don't do this Sanskrit wranglery wrangling, jugglery, all these things. You just worship Govinda. Bhaja Govindam, Bhaja Govindam, Bhaja Govindam Mudamate. You foolish persons, you just worship Govinda. That is his last work. So in this way, Shankaracharya, and he also prescribed worship of Ishvara, although his explanation is something different, but Bhaktivinoda Thakur said, when they will worship Ishvara, they will get the taste of devotion, then gradually they will give up other, that bliss will take them further, like this. So today is his, that is Adi Shankaracharya, first Shankaracharya, because nowadays he established 4 maths in India. One is in Puri, south, west, and there in Himalaya near Badrinath. And he, those sannyasis, they are also called Shankaracharya, like Shankaracharya of Puri now. He's coming during Ratha Yatra to worship Jagannath. And in South India, so they are also called Shankaracharya. So today we are observing the appearance of Adi Shankaracharya, one who is Shiva himself. So he, even Mahaprabhu, because at that time when Mahaprabhu was still the Shankar sannyasis, that was more spread and generally respected in society. People had that faith. So even Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, in order to take advantage of that respect, he took sannyas from Shankaracharya's line. Because when people, his purpose was when people, they will see him, he's a sannyasi, they will automatically bow down and then he can grace them. So he took advantage of this also outward show that he's a Mayavadi sannyasi. But when he was in Kashi, this was also one reason why he took. Because in Kashi, Mayavadi sannyasis, they will not speak with anyone. They are topmost class, they are high, so, but Mahaprabhu was a sannyasi of Shankar, so they took notice. But Prakashananda Saraswati, he thought, why he's a sannyasi? He should study Vedanta, with Shankar's philosophy, means commentary. Why he's acting like some sentimentalist, emotional, he's dancing, this. So you know the history in Chaitanya Charitamrita. Then finally, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu explained to them everything. He cut all the arguments of Shankaracharya and spoke what is the real meaning of Vedanta Sutra. And also in Puri, Sarvam Bhattacharya. So then Gopinath Acharya, his brother-in-law of Sarvam Bhattacharya, he also heard that explanation of Vedanta Sutra from Mahaprabhu. He later took birth as Baladev Vidyabhushan and wrote down that commentary of Vedanta Sutra according to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's teaching. Because you know, Baladev Vidyabhushan first, he was studying all commentaries on Vedanta Sutra, but was particularly attracted to Madhvacharya because their refutation of Mayavad is very strong. But when he came in contact, and he was a champion scholar, he defeated everyone everywhere. But then he came in contact with Radha Damodar Goswami, who was in the line of Shyamananda Prabhu. And from him he studied 6 Sandarbhas of Jiva Goswami. There Jiva Goswami is giving proper explanation of Vedanta from everywhere he's quoting. So then Baladev Vedabhushan was converted to Gauriya Vaishnavism, and then he was selected to write that commentary on the grace of, by the grace of Govinda. That is Mahaprabhu's explanation. So there also he's refuting the Shankaracharya's philosophy. But inside Shankaracharya is a great Vaishnava following the order of Supreme Lord, and he made this contribution, this benefit, because there is thesis, antithesis, and synthesis. First, the Vedas were there, but they were misusing for violence. Then Buddhists came, antithesis. Then Shankaracharya came as synthesis. He harmonized everything. Then again, Ramanuja came, and like this, and final synthesis is Achintya Bheda Abheda of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So I am bowing down to Adi Shankaracharya on his appearance day and praying for his causeless mercy for pure devotion to Govinda Dev. Today is also the appearance day of Srila Bhaktivilas Garbhasti Nemi Gosai Maharaj. He is a direct sannyasi disciple of Prabhupada. So first I will read from Srila Bodhayan Maharaj's article. One second. Lord Chaitanya is non-different from the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Shri Krishna. One significant spiritual descendant of Lord Chaitanya is Srila Bhaktivilas Garbhasti Nemi Gosai Maharaj. More than 300 years ago, there was a family of landowners headed by Ram Krishna Sarkar, who stayed at Bhur Sit Brahmanpara, present-day Maju, near Munshirhat, Howrah, that is near Calcutta. Srila Garbhasti Nemi Gosai Maharaj was the son of Advaita Sarkar and the grandson of Ramakrishna Sarkar. When he was born, he was given the name Girindranath Sarkar. Maharaj was a talented student who studied until class 10. Nowadays, most people have a conception that marriage life is not suitable for spiritual practice. In order to destroy that idea, Maharaj, at an early age, got married to Dhirabala Basurani from Dakshindi Hooghly, West Bengal. Maharaj set an example of how to establish a householder devotee family. In order to maintain his family life, he used to work in an important government department. Simultaneously, he continued to worship his family Giridhari Diti. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave the instruction to Raghunath Das Goswami, Jata Jogya Bishai Bunja Anasakta Hoya. Give all respect to family duties and simultaneously follow the spiritual practice. Also, Mahaprabhu explained to Raghunath Das Goswami, Ochirat Krishna Toma Kori Venudara. Soon, Krishna will deliver you from your material family. Maharaj's life was teaching us such an example. In India, government jobs are very attractive for all people. Although he had a government job and a loyal wife, Girindranath was not bound in his family life. Girindranath Sarkar established an ashram on his own land, and he used to stay as a renounced person there. During this period, one day, all of a sudden, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami Thakur, Prabhupada, came to Brahmanapara along with his preaching team. After Srila Prabhupada's Harikatha, Girindranath Sarkar became impressed and took shelter of Srila Prabhupada. He got Harinam initiation and Diksha initiation along with his wife. He got the name Gaur Govinda Das Adhikari and his wife was named Dhanishta Devi. Srila Prabhupada soon installed a 6-armed Gauranga Murti in Gaur Govinda Das Adhikari's ashram and named the ashram Shri Shri Prapan Ashram. After a few years, Srila Prabhupada observed Gaur Govinda Das Adhikari's attractive service mood and gave him sannyas at Bagbazar Gauriya Math. His name became Shri Bhakti Vilas Gabasti Nemi Gosai Maharaj. Srila Gabasti Nemi Gosai Maharaj's sweet melodious kirtan and preaching strategy made him dear to Srila Prabhupada. I would like to mention a very attractive incident about Maharaj's charisma in collecting funds for Prabhupada's mission. Once, Srila Prabhupada needed 500 rupees urgently. At that time, this was a lot of money. In order to fulfill Srila Prabhupada's desire, Srila Gabasti Nemi Gosai Maharaj took one of his younger god brothers, Radharaman Das Brahmachari, that is later known as Srila Bhakti Kumud Shanta Gosai Maharaj, and went out for collecting funds. They arrived at a Marwari businessman's home, but the guard did not allow them to enter inside. Then Maharaj went to the city, hired a car, and went back to that house. This time the guard allowed them to enter. When they entered, some family members greeted them and had them sit in their guest room. Eventually, the master of the house came with an angry face and requested Maharaj to get out from his home. Maharaj said, "I will get out, no problem, but before I go out, I would like to tell you the glories of Lord Hari. I would like you to hear some glories of Lord Hari." Immediately, Maharaj began to speak Harikatha to everyone. After Maharaj's melodious and logical scriptural discourse, the Marwari businessman became impressed and gave Maharaj 500 rupees donation. Eventually, all of the members of that Marwari businessman's family came to Bagbazar Gauriya Math to take shelter of Srila Prabhupada. After Srila Prabhupada's physical departure, Srila Gabasti Nemi Gosai Maharaj, out of separation, was not feeling enthusiastic to preach anymore and decided to continue his life in solitary bhajan at Shri Shri Prapan Ashram. There he established Shri Radha Govinda Ditthis and started to stay there, giving daily discourses, kirtan and serving the Ditthis. While Srila Gabasti Nemi Gosai Maharaj stayed at Brahmanpara, the temple atmosphere was really attractive for everyone. At that time, in order to deliver the people coming there, Srila Gabasti Nemi Gosai Maharaj decided to become an initiating guru and gave initiations. Unfortunately, on Tuesday, April 26, 1938, in the morning at 7 o'clock, array of Srila Prabhupada, Srila Bhakti Vilas Gabasti Nemi Gosai Maharaj physically left us. As soon as he physically departed, news spread and many of Srila Prabhupada's disciples from various places came to offer their obeisances and attend the disappearance ceremony. He showed us an exemplary service attitude and left us with teachings on how to dedicate our lives for the service of Guru, Vaishnava and Bhagavan. Here there is some difference. Just 1 second. Another. maybe there is some confusion in one of these. 1 second. Yes. Here in Shila Bhaktivinoda Swami Maharaj's book, here it is written that he was a Mayavadi before. A Mayavadi who was subjugated by Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati's sizzling refutations, realized that he had to surrender, and all the householders soon moved into the mud. In 1930, he was awarded sannyas with the name Tridandi Swami Shri Srimad Bhaktivilas Gabasti Nemi Maharaj. Nemi Maharaj, as he was usually called, our Parangurudev also, you know, he mentioned him in his last message that he used to collect funds with him. Nemi Maharaj, our Parangurudev and Goswami Maharaj were main fund collectors for Gauriya Math, whole. So Nemi Maharaj relished smashing the misconceptions of philosophical opponents. He preached widely and was known for his hallmark turban and his sometimes unconventional collection techniques. Among other accomplishments, he was instrumental in securing the rented property that served as the first Gauriya Math branch in Goa. Once, upon arriving from his posting in Bombay to visit Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur in Puri, Srimad Bhaktivilas Gabasti Nemi Maharaj offered Dandavat but was told that he had done so improperly. As a sannyasi, whenever you see your guru, you should touch your danda 3 times to the floor. This indicates body, mind and words, and 3 items to be surrendered as signified by the Tridanda. The ground the danda touches symbolizes the heart. Our Gurudev also told that he was very learned person in Sanskrit. So one time, I forgot in some Sanskrit school or something, I forgot, I will have to hear again. But the point was that Srila Gabasti Nemi Goswami Maharaj spoke there in Sanskrit and all were astonished. And then after that, those Sanskrit people, scholars, they were impressed and they said to others and to that Sevak who was with him, he spoke so many scriptural evidences, we don't know even from where this is. So much he spoke. Such scriptural evidences. Then later on in private, when that Sevak and Maharaj were in private, then that Sevak asked, from where you got all these shlokas, from which scriptures? They also don't know from where they are. Then he did like this with hand, made him understand that they were actually not shlokas from Shastra, some that from Vyasa some, but he himself was speaking Siddhanta in such a way in Sanskrit that they were thinking this is some scriptural evidence directly. He himself composed, means he was speaking proper Siddhanta in Sanskrit in such a way that all other thought it is scriptural evidence. We don't know from where, but it is scriptural evidence. So in this way, very learned person. So today is his disappearance day. I am bowing down to Srila Maharaj and praying for his causeless mercy. And we are hearing Srimad Bhagavatam. Yesterday we heard, now Brahma said, I will speak about Supreme Harikatha, how he appears in this world in different avatars, and they were mentioned. And yesterday we heard, being insulted by sharp words spoken by the co-wife of the king, even in his presence, Prince Dhruva, though only a boy, took to severe penances in the forest. And the Lord, being satisfied by his prayer, awarded him the Dhruva planet, which is worshipped by great sages, both upward and downward. Yes, you know, here it's some summary, but it is always good to hear, because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu made this example to hear about Dhruva 100 times. So here summary, Sai Maharaj is telling, when he was only 5 years old, Prince Dhruva, a great devotee and the son of Maharaj Uttanpad, was sitting on the lap of his father. His stepmother did not like the king's petting her stepson, so she dragged him out, saying that he could not claim to sit on the lap of the king because he was not born out of her womb. The little boy felt insulted by this act of his stepmother, nor did his father make any protest, for he was too attached to his second wife, Suruchi. After this incident, Prince Dhruva went to his own mother and complained. His real mother also could not take any step against this insulting behavior, and so she wept. The boy inquired from his mother how he could sit on the royal throne of his father, and the poor queen replied that only the Lord could help him. The boy inquired where the Lord could be seen, and the queen replied that it is said that the Lord is sometimes seen by great sages in the dense forest. The child prince decided to go into the forest to perform severe penances in order to achieve his objective. You remember, mother told him only Supreme Lord can fulfill all your desires. Your father, grandfather, and great-grandfather and Brahm, all they got their positions by the grace of Supreme Lord. So you can also get. But you should not blame your stepmother for your suffering. She is only instrumental. You are reaping the fruits of your own actions. If you will have hostile mentality to her or to your father or to anyone in this world, then Supreme Lord will not be pleased. So this you have to give up, and you call Supreme Lord. Padma Palash Lochan Shri Hari. Lotus-eyed Shri Hari. You call him. Then you can get his grace. Prince Dhruva performed a stringent type of penance under the instruction of his spiritual master, Sri Narad Muni, later when he got initiation, who was specifically deputed for this purpose by the personality of Godhead. Krishna is sending Guru. Prince Dhruva was initiated by Narad into chanting the hymn composed of 18 letters, namely Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. And Lord Vasudeva incarnated himself as Prishnigarbha, the personality of Godhead, with 4 hands, and awarded the prince a specific planet above the 7 stars. Prince Dhruva, after achieving success in his undertakings, saw the Lord face to face, and he was satisfied that all his needs were fulfilled. he forgot about that kingdom, everything, after getting bliss of seeing Supreme Lord. And Supreme Lord asked him, you ask for any boon? He said, I don't want anything. I know you wanted kingdom. If you request me, I will give you. Then he said, no, I don't want. Now I got jewel. I was searching for a broken piece of glass, but now I found jewel. So what is the use of it? I don't want. I only want your service. Then Narayan said, okay, but now you should return back home and you will do your duty as a king for so many years. Then ultimately you will achieve me at the end of your life. So Dhruva went and he was regretting why I desired that kingdom and all this. So we should take this teaching from Dhruva. Our Gurudev told that in previous life, Dhruva, when our Gurudev used to explain this verse of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, na dhanang na janang na sundaring kovitang ba jagadisha kamaya, mama janmani janmanishware bhavatat bhaktira hoitukite. Gurudev told, when you are chanting Harinam, you should not have any other desires except causeless devotion to Krishna. Otherwise, you will be deprived of your eternal welfare. So Gurudev gave example that Dhruva in his previous life, he was a Brahmin boy, but pious, he was studying Veda, chanting Harinam, all this, but he had one classmate who was very rich person. So sometimes he went to his house and he was very much impressed and attracted to all that opulence. So he was thinking, if I would be a son of a rich man, it would be very good. And chanting Harinam, Hare Krishna, and thinking this. So then he got it because he desired. But ultimately, by the grace of Narad and Supreme Lord, he understood that that is not our requirement. Our requirement is only devotion to Krishna. So we have to learn this from the example of Dhruva, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu directly out of compassion, he told, you should not have any other desire. You should only desire causeless devotion to Krishna, only for his satisfaction. The planet awarded to Prince Dhruva Maharaj is a fixed Vaikuntha planet installed in the material atmosphere by the will of the Supreme Lord Vasudeva. This planet, although within the material world, will not be annihilated at the time of devastation, but will remain fixed in its place. And because it is a Vaikuntha, like any dham in this world, Mayapur, Vrindavan, Puri, they will not be destroyed. And because it is a Vaikuntha planet, never to be annihilated, it is worshipped even by the denizens of the 7 stars situated below the Dhruva planet, as well as by the planets which are even above the Dhruva planet. Maharshi Bhrigu's planet is situated above the Dhruva planet. So the Lord incarnated himself as Prishnigarbha just to satisfy a pure devotee of the Lord. And Prince Dhruva achieved this perfection simply by chanting the hymn mentioned above, after being initiated by another pure devotee, Narad. A serious personality can thus achieve the highest perfection of meeting the Lord and attain his objective simply by being guided by a pure devotee, who automatically approaches by dint of one's serious determination to meet the Lord by all means. When someone is sincere for eternal welfare, then Krishna will send him proper guidance, will not deceive him. So Dhruva was serious in the sense he accepted the teaching of his mother, that there is Supreme Lord, he can fulfill all desires, and he is the giver of fruits of all actions, so you should not blame anyone. So this Dhruva accepted seriously. Immediately he effaced from the heart all hostile mentality to anyone, and with that clear heart, with free heart, with concentration, he was really sincerely calling Supreme Lord. That is why Supreme Lord sent him Narad Goswami. Of Prince Dhruva's activities can be read in detail in the 4th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, but it is also in other Puranas. In sages of ancient India, our Gurudev gave from Bhagavatam, but that Prabhu who was translating this, I don't know if it is in original in Gurudev's Bengali, but I also got translation from another one, Purana, about Dhruva's history in some different way, because different kalpas happening. So it is there also. But the main point is he was very determined, and ultimately he lost all desires and only wanted service of Krishna. Yat venam utpatta gatam dvijavakya vajra nishplushta paurusha bhagam niraya patantam tratvartito jagati putra padam chalebhe dugda vasuni vasuda sakalani yena. Maharaj Vena went astray from the path of righteousness, and the Brahmanas chastised him by the thunderbolt curse. By this, King Vena was burned with his good deeds and opulence, and was en route to hell. The Lord, by his causeless mercy, descended as his son by the name of Prithu, delivered the condemned King Vena from hell, and exploited the earth by drawing all kinds of crops as produce. This will later hear, it is in Bhagavatam, about Prithu Maharaj. He is also that devotee who is doing one kind of devotion. He is doing Archan Bhakti. Shukadev Goswami, Kirtan, Parikit Maharaj, Shravan, Prahlad Maharaj Smaran. The Archan is Prithu Maharaj. Then Bandhanam is Akrura, Padasevanam Lakshmi. Then Dasyam Hanuman, Sakyam Arjuna, and Bali Atmanivedanam. Naber aso Rishaba asa Sudevi sunur yo vai chachara samadrik joro jogacharjam yat paramahamsyam rishayah padam amananti swastah prashanta karanah parimukta sangha. The Lord appeared as the son of Sudevi. Yes, here 1 second. The Lord appeared as the son of Sudevi, the wife of King Nabi, and was known as Rishabdev. He performed materialistic yoga to equibalance the mind. This stage is also accepted as the highest perfectional situation of liberation, wherein one is situated in oneself and is completely satisfied. Joro yoga, materialistic, then mechanical. This Joro yoga involves practicing becoming like a dumb stone and not being affected by material reactions. Just as stone is indifferent to all kinds of attacks and re-attacks of external situations, similarly, one practices Joro yoga by tolerating voluntarily infliction of pain upon the material body. Joro Yoga practice is to get free from all material affection and to be completely situated in the self. So he got this. This we will hear later in detail. Satre mamasa bhagavan haya shira shato shakshat sayagya purushas tapanya varna chandomayo makamayo kila devatatma vacho babuvur ushati shwasato sya nasta. The Lord appeared as the Hayagriva incarnation in a sacrifice performed by me, means Brahma. He is the personified sacrifices, and the hue of his body is golden. He is the personified Vedas as well, and the super soul of all demigods. When he breathed, all the sweet sounds of the Vedic hymns came out of his nostrils. When he breathed, all the sweet sounds of the Vedic hymns came out of his nostrils, because he is Supreme Lord. That breathing of Supreme Lord, they are all Vedas, Shrutis, that which is heard. So our Parangurudev got this name from Prabhupada. Hayagriv Das Brahmachari. Matsyo Yuganta Samaye Manu no Palabda Kshoni Mayo Nikila Jiva Nikaya Keta Visram Sitan Uru Bhaye Salile Mukhan Me Adaya Tatra Vijahara Ha Veda Margam. At the end of the millennium, the would-be Vaivasvata Manu of the name Satyavrata would see that the Lord in the fish incarnation is the shelter of all kinds of living entities, up to those in the earthly planets. Because of my fear of the vast water at the end of the millennium, the Vedas came out of my, means Brahma's mouth, and the Lord enjoys those vast waters and protects the Vedas. That is Matsya Bhagavan. So tomorrow we will hear about Kurma Bhagavan.